This is the 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 2500HD LTZ. Do you get enough features for a sticker price of $81,305? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. Today I'm at Red River Chevrolet to give you the information to answer that question. And there is a link in the description of this video to this truck if you may be interested in coming in and buying it here at Red River Chevrolet. The exterior color on this model is Summit White. It has a Gideon and very dark atmosphere interior. Let me show you what Gideon and very dark atmosphere looks like. This is it. I do have to say I like this. It's better than just black, and I think is really going to feel a lot better on really hot days when you have a lot of sunlight shining into the interior. And there are a few changes to talk about. By no means a full redesign, but definitely some significant changes. As far as the exterior goes, you'll find some changes here on the front end with the front bumper, with the grille, a few other little areas here, but that's it as far as the exterior goes. You will also find increased horsepower and torque, depending on which engine option you go with. This model has the Duramax diesel under the hood, the 6.6 liter. It's four-wheel drive. It has the Z71 off-roading package with it, so if you do some off-roading or maybe deal with just some difficult terrain, well, this truck will definitely handle it without a problem. Also, the Texas edition, so you're going to have a lot of chrome on and around the vehicle. And within the interior, we will find the most changes, but I'll hold off until we get to that area in just a bit to tell you all about it. All right, let's start with lighting. We're going to find LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, and I don't have them on right now, but the LED fog lights are down there on the bottom. And that chrome up here, I was talking about there being a good bit with the bumper, with the front grille, nice large Chevrolet bow tie logo. And right here, yes, this air scoop or air intake, we'll call it, is fully functional. And one little thing that's here, just some added value, I guess. Right here, you're gonna find that bow tie logo again. Something that's very interesting, just something I thought you might want to see that is there. And there's a lot of lighting on the vehicle in a few convenient places. You can see the LED lighting within the side view mirrors here. These are power adjustable, power folding side view mirrors with turn signal indicators built in. You'll also find your blind spot monitoring up there. Kind of hard to see in the glare right now, at least through the camera it might be. Also, the lighting right here in the mirrors as well. And you're going to find your power assist steps. Now, on this particular model, you'll notice that we have the bed step right here. That means that you don't have the feature where you can actually touch the button with your foot on the back of the steps and have them come back. You don't really need that in this case, but that is an available option if so desired. And the chrome door handles, you'll find passive entry here on the front. So when you have the remote on your person, you can push that button to lock or unlock the interior of the truck. That definitely helps out. Speaking of the remote, here's what we have for 2024. And one thing that you might find that's interesting, when you hit the remote start right there, you don't have to lock the doors to make that work. So you'll hit that button twice, the truck will actually lock the doors itself, and then the truck will start. And we'll finish things up here as we work our way to the back. Again, some chrome. We're gonna have the chrome rear bumper, the bumper steps that are very handy, and LED tail lights to finish things off. One more light as well. In fact, a couple more things on lighting. There's one more LED light right here. You're going to have your cab light up there, and within the interior of the bed, you'll also have the LED lighting. That's going to be on both sides here at the rear. It's nice that it's really angled the way that it is towards the front of the bed. And in case you're saying, Tom, you didn't tell us what size the tires are. Well, let's talk about that. I'm not going to forget, don't worry. 275 on your width, a 70 series sidewall, and 18-inch wheels. And under the hood, the 6.6 liter Duramax diesel. 470 horsepower and a very solid 975 pounds-feet of torque, mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission. That's going to be that Allison automatic transmission. And you'll find an increase of 25% low-end torque. And just for the fun of it, you're going to notice that the doors are unlocked. So I'm just going to do this just so you can see that it works. See, I told you, you don't have to lock the doors to use remote start because the truck does it for you. And there are certain areas of this truck where we could almost make our own standalone video, including the side view mirrors. We've talked about some of the features and functionality, but there's a couple more things to mention. Number one, I'm going to push the button right there. They are power folding. You can go into your infotainment system and actually change a setting to where they automatically fold when you lock the truck. And obviously they're trailering mirrors. They are power, so they're going to extend out like they just did right there. And all I did was push that center button right down there. And so very simple to deal with, but nicely effective. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the pickup truck end of things and the capabilities. In a lot of ways, you could refer to this truck as a luxury truck. It's still a pickup truck. It can still handle a very heavy load, including 3,368 pounds of payload and towing up to 18,000 pounds. And we have the multi-flex tailgate here. What exactly is that for those who may not know? Well, one thing to note about this, I'm going to show you real quick. You may have seen it on the remote earlier. You're going to see that you can hit that button twice for the tailgate to come down, but when you hit it a second time, it doesn't go back up. You're going to have to go with the standard style tailgate instead of the multi-flex tailgate to have that auto up feature, just so you know. But let's take a look at what we have here. So here are the other ways that you can use this. You could use it as a table. There's actually two ways to use it as a bed extender, which is going to be number one like this. So if you need something to butt up against this area right here, you can do that. But, let's see if I can get that back down. A little hard to do one-handed with everything here. There's also bed extender number two. As far as the option goes right here, that's what we have where that is concerned. But that's not all. I know it sounds like an infomercial, doesn't it? I promise it's not. Now, here's something that I know I have discovered for myself without tongue twists. Let's avoid the tongue twist. I'm still going to film this in one shot. I don't know if this was intended by Chevrolet, probably so, but in case it's not, I wanted to tell you about it. Let's say that you have something you need to gain access to in this rear portion of the bed, but it's so close you don't really need to jump up into the bed or anything like that. Well, lowering this section of the tailgate down makes it easier to reach further in without actually getting in. You're also going to find your 120 volt power outlet right here. There are going to be 6 tie downs total on each side for a total of 12, 3 in the front, 3 in the rear. You will also find everything else that you need here, including the handle, because you also have a step right here. That makes it easy to hop in and out. You're going to have your bed liner with the Chevrolet logo stamped in right there in the front. So quite a bit going on here where this truck is concerned. A power sliding rear window is also found right there in the middle. Kind of hard to see maybe from this angle with the glare, but trust me, it is there. And in case you were wondering how much diesel can you put into your truck at one time, it has a 36-gallon gas tank. How's that for information you don't hear in every YouTube video reviewing these vehicles? And we'll take a closer look into the interior. We're going to have a nice layout, nice materials, comfortable. Seems like a comfortable armrest, at least putting my armrest up there or my arm on the armrest. And very large door bins. We'll also find additional storage here underneath the seats. You can raise the seat cushions up. Obviously on both sides, my arms aren't quite long enough to reach over there, so I'm just going to do the one side and see if I'm strong enough to get that back down. And something else that I really like here that you'll only find on the Silverados and the GMC Sierras is going to be the in-seat storage on these trucks in the seat backs, at least as far as I know. I don't think anybody else has that at this point. Something very unique, a nice use of space by Chevrolet. Also, your fold-down armrest with the cup holders built in right there. There's a better look at that power sliding rear window. You also have your rear window defogger, or what we often used to know in the past as a defroster. So let's hop in here and we'll close the door to get rid of some of that exterior noise out there. You're going to have these seat pockets back here on both seats. as well as the rear air conditioning vents, a couple of USB ports, and the buttons for controlling the heated seats back here, a couple more cup holders. Now tell me about your thoughts. Here is the lone option if you go with a sunroof. It's going to be the standard size. Would you rather see a panoramic sunroof, or maybe you're like me and you say, you know what, I don't need a sunroof at all? One thing nobody can say about this truck is that it is lacking space for storing smaller items. Here on the front door is basically the same look and layout for the most part as we saw with the rear doors. Large door bin right here, and you'll also find very comfortable seating. Power seats for the driver and the passenger. Both are ventilated and heated here in the front. You'll find a little bit of storage right there on the side of the center console, but also here within the upper glove box, I should say, because there's actually two, the upper and the lower. More space within that area. And we'll take our first look into the interior. And I told you there were some changes. I know over the years a lot of you have said, you know what, Tom, the interior of these trucks is antiquated, it needs to be redesigned. Well, GM heard you, because that's exactly what they did here with these Chevrolets. And we'll take a quick look down here. More connectivity right here, you'll see that. And right here, you might say to yourself, wow, for over $81,000, you don't have wireless charging? Well, let me do this. Let me just pull out my cell phone right here. And you know what? Even though the truck's not on, if I was going to charge it, that's where it would go. Here's a better view. That is where your wireless charging pad is now located. So that's the situation where that is concerned. Cup holders right here, and a very nice, large center console, wide. That means that if you don't want to get too cozy with whoever's driving or in the passenger seat over here, you have all of your own space right here in kind of a neutral zone in between. Yeah, we can laugh about it, right? It's funny. It's okay. You can laugh. Just making an observation there, a lot of room, in other words. So you have all of your space here. That is, unless Jake Cutler and Ronnie Coleman maybe took a ride in this truck together, then maybe there wouldn't be enough space. But my forearms are not that big. And another outlet, power outlet right here, a couple more USB options there. You do have the removable tray right here, and talk about some space. You could put a lot of small things or a couple of big things within the center console. And right up here is how you're going to manage your sunroof that does slide or tilt open. See some of the other features that are here that I know a lot of you ask about, so it's probably easier to show it than it is to tell you about it. And while we took a quick look earlier at the driver's side door panel, I was mainly focused on those power side view mirrors. You might have noticed a few other things here, such as seat memory. Now, in my personal opinion, at the price point of this truck, I think you should have seat memory on both sides. Just my opinion. Tell me what you think about that. But you can see what else is here as far as controls for these side view mirrors, just positioning, all that good stuff. And here on the dash area, here are the controls for your head-up display. A lot of adjustments can be made there. Your power parking brake, right here you can select your driving mode, and everything here for selecting things with or turning things on and off with your lights on the exterior of the truck. And your auto high beams, if they're on, you can turn them off if you want to with this button, or turn them on with that button. You also have a a manually adjustable steering wheel. That's a habit to say that. It is manually adjustable, it's not power adjustable. And here are the animated graphics on the screens that we have here, the 12.3-inch driver's display and the 13.4-inch center screen or infotainment screen. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, it's not that big of a deal. And maybe it's not, but it's here, so I might as well show you. We'll hit our push button start, and I don't know how well we can show off the head-up display. I don't know if I can even get that to come up. But anyway, I'm not going to worry about going too crazy with that because it's kind of bright out here. But there it is. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it is there. You can make a lot of changes and adjustments to brightness, position, and what's on the display itself. So let's do this. Let me turn the steering wheel around here, and we'll take a look at the 12.3-inch driver's display and see what's here. And what's interesting is you might say, you know what, Tom, I don't really like the way that looks. What are my options? Well, let's push the arrow right here. We'll arrow over, gonna have to do this a couple of times. You can put the speedometer up there, but you can go all the way up here. Let's get to where we need to be. Here we go. So you can actually change the display layout. So if you want to go with progressive, for example, I promise I'm not going to show you every single one, but we can go with digital if we would like and see how that looks. It's a very nice look. Or we can even change everything by the location. So left side, right side, lower gauges. You can see what all is there and what all you can change. Even make some changes to the head-up display. Or if you want to reset, if you get to a point and say, I'm just not really happy with what I've done here, what do I do? Yeah, you can reset that. You can even get rid of the likeness of your truck over there on the right-hand side. Some people want to do that. That's why I mentioned that. I've had that question asked before. You can see your steering wheel mounted controls here, and something that people have varying opinions on. You do have a traditional style column shifter here. Some like that. I've had some people say it's even antiquated. And for me personally, I'll even try and give you a best first-person view. It doesn't really seem to get in the way of the 13.4-inch touchscreen. So not an issue where that's concerned. And speaking of that, well, before we talk about that, there is some more of that space that I talked about earlier. It's everywhere in this truck. And you do have your rear view camera mirror. If you don't like that, we'll just flip the lever down there and you can use a conventional style. But I have to tell you, it does take a little bit of getting used to if you've never had a rear view camera mirror like this before. But here's the thing. Once you adjust it to your liking and you're happy with it and you're used to it, you'll really like it because it gives you a better view of what's going on behind the truck. Just a better, more clear, concise view than what you would have otherwise. So I do like that. And here is the screen. It looks modern, it looks complicated, but it's not. It's very easy to learn and very easy to use. In fact, you have Google Assistant here. So here's the thing about that. I'm not going to demonstrate it because I might set off devices in some of your homes. But you just say, hey, you know who, and you can ask Google to do a lot of things. You can ask a lot of questions. Google Maps is interactive with voice commands. So if you need to on the fly get directions somewhere, if you're out of town or wherever you are, well, it works well that way. And one thing I didn't mention earlier, I'll tell you what, there are cameras aplenty on this truck. I believe up to 14 different views. And you can see the overhead view right there. But one thing that I didn't mention earlier, if you're looking at the front end of the truck and you see the front camera and you notice that little notch sticking out, when you're facing the front of the truck, when you're standing in front of it, it would be on your right. What is that? Well, let me show you. I'm going to push the button right here. This is how you do this. Now keep in mind, you don't have to have the front view camera up for this to work. Every time you run the windshield washer fluid, this happens. It's the front view camera washer or front camera washer. And like I say, you don't have to have the camera up on the screen for that to happen. And here are our different views. So there's your rear view camera right there, and you have two different views. You notice those little dots right there? Notice how it shows you that there's two different views. So very easy to deal with, just in case you were wondering about that. Yes, sometimes people do have questions about that kind of thing. That's just the way it is, and I don't mind showing it. Also, you're going to have so many different views. You'll have your hitch guidance and all that good stuff when you need to use that for towing your trailer. If you have somebody you're looking for and you're suspicious they might be sleeping in the bed, well, you can find out. You can even zoom in and make sure it's actually who you think it is. Just having a little fun there. And let's run over here real quick. Obviously, you have trailering, climate. You can see everything that's here. Very easy to deal with. This is a very simple system to use. Even if it looks a little complicated, it really isn't. But let's go here. Let's go to vehicle. You have teen driver mode, rear seat reminder. If you're in a position when maybe you're driving around in a parking lot, changing parking spaces, driving from one side to the other, maybe you're at the racetrack driving around, I don't know, it could be a lot of different places. At the farm, I don't know, whatever. And you don't need to put your seatbelt on. Well, you can turn that buckle to drive feature off. I do encourage you to drive with your seatbelt on. That's a good idea. Collision detection systems, here's what we have. You can see what all is here. I'm not going to cover everything with this, but I just wanted to show you quickly what all is here. that's very easy to deal with. And a lot of those one-touch buttons down there, I'll give you a little closer look. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what those are. Your dual zone climate control is here. You can sync those two sides together if you want to. You also have the heated seat functions and ventilated seats. That is a very nice thing to have. Quite a bit going on here. Overall, tell me what you think. For those of you who have told me in the past that you felt like the interior of these trucks was rather antiquated, what do you think now? And one more thing, for those who might have said, Tom, you showed us the drive mode selector. What are the driving modes? Well, we have off-road and we have normal. Those are your two driving modes. Okay, what's it like to drive this truck? Well, I think it's a very enjoyable driving experience. For one thing, I find a better ride quality, at least in my opinion, compared to the 1500 version of the Silverado. And that's purely because you have a heavier truck. Depending on if you have the towing package or not, well, that will make a difference. But in this case, I think that the ride quality is very enjoyable. It's very smooth. For what it is, maybe very smooth isn't the best word for it, but it seems to handle the road better than the lighter 1500. So kind of something that goes back to some of the older versions of those trucks where they were heavier than they are now. So one way or another, a very enjoyable truck to drive, easy to maneuver around. It definitely gets down the road when you need it to get down the road. I mean, 470 horsepower and 975 pounds-feet of torque, well, that's definitely not shy in those areas. And with the 10-speed automatic transmission, you're putting all of that to the ground with really no problem whatsoever. So a very, very good experience in every single aspect of driving. I think it's comfortable and something that helps where all of that is concerned as far as comfort goes. I can confirm that it has plenty of room with a nice long cab, plenty of space, head space and leg room for driver and passengers, whether it's the front seat or the back seat. And the thing is, obviously you can adjust things accordingly so you don't feel cramped, that's for sure, especially here in the front seat, because you can adjust these seats in so many different ways. And I sure like the fact that you have the heated and ventilated seats here in the front. You do have the heated in the rear as well, so that has its benefits. And you have all of those different camera views to help out. Depending on your situation, there are so many different things that you could find yourself in, different situations where it would be helpful to see what's around you. If it's tight, the confines are tight, somebody parked closer to you than they should have, or whatever the case is, it works really well with all of that. So a lot of technology here for what you're paying. I know it's a pretty high price, but what isn't these days? It seems like everything is way up there. If you don't want to pay a lot for a Chevrolet vehicle, you're going to have to go with the 2024 version of the Trax, but there's a little bit of a difference in towing, in cargo capacity, and definitely in horsepower and torque. But overall, this is a very enjoyable truck in every form and fashion. Seeing out of it when you're driving down the road is not an issue, but you also have your blind spot monitoring to help with that. So a very well-rounded truck in many, many ways. Okay, tell me what you think about this 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD LTZ. Do you get enough features for the sticker price of $81,305? Curious to know what you think, and if you plan to buy one of these trucks, tell me what trim level you wish to have. I would like to say a special thanks to my friends here at Red River Chevrolet in Bossier City, Louisiana. Remember, if you want to know more about this truck or anything else they have in inventory here at the dealership, check out the link down in the description of the video. I would also like to say a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. If you haven't subscribed just yet, please do so you can see future videos. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.